still can't believe Cass is giving the old Irish shout. You know, honestly. Okay, he played in a couple of World Cups. He tens and tens of international caps. Fair enough. But
88, exactly,
we
Scott.
88. There you go.
Yeah.
We all know English.
Very
Cass.
proud as well.
Yeah.
Yes, so you
what was
haven't turned Portuguese or anything lately, have you? Or...
No sou português.
Oh, he's showing off now, isn't he? Have you got any Gaelic you can offer?
Not on top of...
Okay. Quickly move on then, shall we? Chelsea, Leicester.
Sheena Fina Fall.
Oh, for goodness sake. Shall we move on, Cass?
Yeah,
talk
let's
about
go
this
on.
game?
Yeah, about someone
Otherwise it
who's
could
won
get
the
more
FA Cup
embarrassing.
who will know the answers to Chelsea. Scott.
Is that it? Over to you, Scott. Tell us then. How are they going to do it?
Come on, Scott.
Well, they don't have Gianfranco Zola in the side, so it doesn't help.
No. Come on, tell us what you expect. I mean, it was a real eye-opener yesterday, wasn't it, Scott, with Wolves suffering like they did against Coventry and Coventry getting the result and Leicester top of the league. And, you know, you just feel Chelsea are an edgy team. You're never quite sure what you're going to get from them.
Yeah, interesting that Poch has decided to go public on the fact that a lot of the inexperienced young players struggled to sleep the night before the cup final, which you kind of, want to keep that quiet, really. Look, I think it has been an improvement since the Wolves game. I was disappointed with extra time in the final, but, take that out of the equation. I think it's been a lot better. Perhaps you could, and Nat would probably say, hold on a second, the 2-2 against Brentford, Chelsea weren't great. But I think generally speaking, 3-1 wins at Selhurst and Villa Park, a good draw at the Etihad as well. And I thought on Monday night, it was a very good win against Newcastle, and one where not only it was a win, but it was a deserved win. The performance kind of matched the result. And I think that was really, really important. The likes of Cole Palmer, obviously. I thought Nicholas Jackson had one of his better games, and not just because of the neat little flick that he scored. I thought he really, I wouldn't say terrorised the Newcastle defence, but showed what he's capable of. And I thought they looked a little more solid despite conceding 2 goals in defence. So, look, there's a lot to sort of take forward, but there's no doubt about it. If you're Enzo Maresco, you're saying, have a look at yesterday. Wolves are above Chelsea in the table, and look what Coventry did. So that's the beauty of the FA Cup. The pressure is all on Chelsea today.
You mentioned Nicholas Jackson. Obviously, he's one of these young players in this very young Chelsea side. Oh, do you think we're starting to see the best of him now?
Yeah, I think he's still probably a couple of years away from being the Chelsea centre forward. I mean, look, Nat, you look at how many big names have come to Chelsea and try to fill in that number 9 spot. It's been a very difficult thing to do since really Drogba and Diego Costa. Massive names, world-class names, and have not been able to do it. I think almost his talent has got a little bit ahead of him of where he is right now, but he's on a very good journey, and I think he's got the raw attributes. I think he obviously has to have a little bit more composure in front of goal. I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago before the final, and he admitted that. But I think he was very, very good, and he's learning all the time. And his numbers for a first season and for the amount that they paid, and it wasn't like 50, 80, 100 million pounds. I think it was 30 million pounds. His numbers have been pretty decent.
And Scott, where do you see Raheem Sterling? Because obviously he's not in the England squad. He started, I thought, the season brilliantly for Chelsea, putting some really good performances. Of late, it's been a bit trickier, and he's sort of finding his way in a team that's not really a 90-minute team, are they, in any shape or form?
No, they're almost a team of moments, aren't they, rather than sort of dominating games. And that's where I think you kind of want Enzo and Caicedo to help dominate the games and dictate the tempo of the game. And the wide players, obviously, have to try and get involved when they can. But you just look at Cole Palmer. Whenever he's playing out on the right, he's able to do it. And you're right, I'm a big Raheem Sterling fan. And at the early part of the season when he wasn't in the England squad, I'm like, well, how on earth has this happened? He must have had a fallout with Gareth Southgate. Something must have happened. Obviously, he said he didn't want to play in the summer internationals, but I still think he's good enough, and what he's done for England, he should be there. But the last few months, his form hasn't been good enough, Cass. So I'm not surprised he's not in there. But if he does really well from now to the end of the season, help Chelsea get to 7th in the Premier League, which is possible, and win the FA Cup as well, you never know.
Do you think this is win or bust for Mauricio Pochettino, this cup final, cup's quarter-final, and the potential of getting to Wembley semi-final and then the FA Cup final itself? If he wins it, does that mean he's safe for next season?
Well, I think he should be safe for next season anyway, Nat, but there's no sort of arguments. He's on trial to the end of the season. I think with what happened without going at all again, the turbulence of Abramovich going, new owners coming in, going completely different route, as I think most managers would have struggled. You can't have 30, 40 players and expect to suddenly say, right, there you go, deal with it. I would have expected him to have done a little bit better, mid-table, not good enough. But if they do finish 7th, I think that would be decent. But the FA Cup, there's no doubt about it. That's the kind of the glamour one, isn't it? And if you win the first trophy and get the fans behind you, then I think they really can kick on. And I don't think Chelsea as a squad in terms of a group of players, and I think the outs will be as important as the ins in the summer if they can bring any ins in. But that number one for me, put all your money on a top striker. If they get a top striker, then everything can change. Because if you're under pressure, you've got that top striker who can score the goals out of nothing. Then suddenly you get wins before you know it. The momentum builds, confidence builds, fans are behind you, and it becomes a lot more easier just going out on the pitch in the first place. So Kaz knows that striker's role is the most important, alongside the goalkeeping role as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can add in as well, big injuries. You look at Reece James being out. You look at Chilwell missed large chunks of the season. Fofana, who's been out, come from Leicester. Big move, hardly played because of an injury. So, Chelsea have got quite a list of players that have been out for a long time, haven't they, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. Injuries have been, but it's one of those where can Chelsea really moan about injuries with the amount of players they've got? And listening to you earlier, there's so many clubs that can say about injuries. So you can't use that. But at the same time, if your key players are out, it doesn't matter who you are, you will struggle to hit the heights. The one thing I would say in terms of the right back role, as much as I love Reece James, I think Malagusta's been superb. And the biggest compliment I can give is that if Reece James is fit now, I'd still play Gusto right now. But I think if you've got him one side and Chilwell the other, there's no doubt about it. They're a different side, Chelsea, and those wing backs or full backs can really help give that width and then help create those opportunities which Nicholas Jackson now is starting to put away.
Scott, thank you. You're going to be at Stamford Bridge, aren't you, for us?
I am. I'm looking forward to the game. Should be a good one. And Leicester have nothing to lose, by the way. Obviously, it's a big day for them as well. They could be through to the semi-final of the FA Cup, or they could be knocked out and knocked off the top of the Championship as well, with Leeds also playing Millwall. So it's a big day for Leicester, but I think they should just go for it. They've got nothing to lose here in the FA Cup.
Brilliant. Thanks.
All right, cheers, Scott.
Enjoy
Catch up soon.
Cheers, guys.
Weekend Sports Breakfast with Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Sunday mornings from 6 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.